no time.
OnlySlabs.
Hey there, comic book friends and fiends. It's me. It's Rob, the Great Wall of Comics. I'm here. You know who else is here? This guy. His name is Chris. He's a comic vet. He's not just a vet of comics, but he's a vet in general. But not that kind of vet. The other kind of vet. Do doody do.
The saluting kind.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm wonderfully happy to, as we came in here, we breathe a sigh of relief as we see backstage our guests just arrived just in time. A little confusion over multiple links that were sent out. So we're gonna do this cold, which is great. So let's go ahead and bring Ken on. I'll explain all this stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today, Ken, how
Hi,
you
everybody.
doing? Thanks for joining us. Thanks. Sorry about the confusion with the
Oh,
links.
no problem at all. I use Safari on my Apple,
Ah.
and it doesn't work with the stream.
Oh, yeah, there's a weird, copy
Yeah.
and paste the link URL, and I should have troubleshot with you ahead of time.
No,
Ad
that's okay.
host, no worries. Anyways, we'll explain this on the fly as if we're explaining it to the guests, so everybody's get along here. So everybody, first of all, welcome our guest today. I'm going to put his information up down below, so follow him on Instagram at @SabatinKen _ Ken. On Instagram, amazing books. He's here to share some of them with us today. And what we're going to do is, if you've never watched the show before, we're going to give Ken a chance to introduce himself after we play Romper Room and say hello to everybody. We'll go through about half of the books he brought to show with us today. We'll talk about them along the way, some about information about the books, how he came to get them, what got him interested in them. We'll learn about Ken as we go through his collection. Halfway, we'll pause to give away some books, and then we will get back into some more books, and we'll do another giveaway at the end. And that's how we do it. Hour and a half of fun. We are on a time schedule, and so with that, I'm going to go ahead and let's play Romper Room.
Romper bumper, stomper boo, tell me do. Magic mirror, tell me today, did all of my friends have fun at play?
Well, most definitely, I hope they will, because here's Liz
This
Crucius.
pen. I just need a pen.
Hooray. Marty, how you doing? All the way over from Canada. I hope that you're not on fire.
Happy Canada Day, everybody.
Yeah, Lone Eagle, good day to all. PSN Green Hulkster. Up super early in the morning, Mad Spidey in Australia. It's like 4 something in the morning there. Not 4 o'clock in the morning in the other side there from the UK. Dr. Von Hoot, how are you doing, sir? Happy to have you with us. Be on with him actually after this show on Triple G's channel. Let's see who else we have. Brian LCS. I woke up on time for Brian LCS's show this morning. I set the alarm. So I made it for Breakfast with Brian. Now, I don't know about all the shows he listed that were on before his show, how they expect West Coasters to be a part of them, but, including Madam Blaster, who apparently was on at 4:30 in the morning her time. Crazy. Warlord, hello. Welcome. Thank you for having me with us. Hulk Collector 82. John's Comics with Kids. Yes, happy to have you with us here. Dale's Comics and Dale of Suspense Comics and Collectibles. Who else do we have here with us today? Hey, look at that. It's DAGR Cards. Hello, all.
Dagger.
It's also DAGR because it's all caps.
It's just in reference to his favorite hockey player, Jaromir Jagr.
Yeah, I see it as all caps. Therefore, I say out the letters. Right. I'm not a hockey guy.
He's
but Chuck Hennessy's here. Can we agree that's how we say that? Chuck Hennessy?
Yes.
There we go. Very good. All right. Kenneth Bird. Happy to have you as always. Marty Aleko. The real James Willie, as opposed to that fake James Willie that's running around from time to time. Boom, 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 boom. Who else is here? El Green Machine. Yes. And collecting with Durs. All the beautiful homies. And the ugly ones, too. Pocan Joe, ladies and gentlemen, in the house. Happy to have you here with us. Everyone say hello to everybody. Oh, look at that. We're busting off July, right? Happy Canada Day for the cause. Comics Curing Cancer. All the proceeds going to Comics Curing Cancer. We start off July strong with our first super chat of the month as we build our new revenue. Thank you so much, sir.
It's the
Eh.
shoulder every time that gets me.
Wayne Deacon, hello everybody. And let's see, Salvation Zone, hello from Seattle, Washington. Hello. And I think Austin LeMay's checking in. Excellent, excellent,
Ooh.
excellent. Thank you. And I think you said you saw that somebody gifted a membership, and
So yes,
I didn't
I
see it on
saw
my.
that Charmaine Deacon picked up a gifted membership earlier in the chat, and I can pull that up right now, Rob. It's not awkward at all.
No, but it's all right.
It's jumped on me. Apologies. Was it DVH that did it?
I don't know. Wow.
So someone gifted a membership earlier. Well, we were running a little late, and Charmaine Deacon picked it up. So thank you.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I just added Charmaine right now. Oops, I spun and didn't undo that. It's a matter.
It's time, everybody.
Somebody's gonna. I'm doing something backstage because I clicked the wrong button. Just close that now. All right, now we're gonna do it for real. Let me add this to the stream. It is the first of the month. First Saturday of the month, and that means it's time to select our henchman of the month. The henchman, guys, this is our channel membership. All the channel membership goes to Comics Curing Cancer, part of the American Cancer Society. So far, we've raised over $1,000 since the beginning of this year for Comics Curing Cancer. Of course, the big push will be in October, where we October 20th, 21st, 22nd, we'll be doing our big 3-day event, hoping to beat our goal. Last year, we raised $22,000. Hoping to get to $25,000 this year. So let's see who our henchman of the month is. Ken, number between 1 and 10, if you will.
8.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Let's let me just spin it. I guess it wasn't rotating. Never mind.
3, 2, 1, go.
And our henchman of the month is. Boom! Travis Vick. Oh, Travis Vick's won before.
Tell him what he's won, Rob.
Well, he's won a OnlySlabs a henchman t-shirt. If Travis Vick, you got to reach out to me via Instagram. Let me know your shirt size. You have until next month to report in. Otherwise, sorry. Thanks for playing. All right. Let's we've done our first initial bit. We'll read our channel members a little bit later on in the show to all the henchmen later on to thank them, because I do want to make sure we get cracking here and bring Ken into the spotlight. Ken, first of all, thank you so much for responding to me on Instagram when I reached out to you.
Sure.
Your posts blew my mind. I
Thanks.
think it's safe to say you are what we would call a high grade collector, as opposed to some of. I mean, you're the only person, first of all, who's ever sent me their list of what they plan to bring.
Oh, really? I thought it was normal.
Before the show.
Yes.
No. Hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I will say, there's a lot of books that you have that I have, but we are vastly different ends of the spectrum.
Yes.
But that's what makes this great. I love to see a whole variety of different books, and we often will have those different ends of the spectrum. So it's a great time to see that. How did you get into comic book collecting?
Well, good question.
Because obviously I saw you in your notes. Somebody said you've been doing this for a while.
I've been doing this a long time. So when I was sick, when I was a little kid, my dad used to buy me 3-packs. You remember those plastic 3-packs?
Mm-hmm.
And he also bought me 3-packs whenever we went on vacation. So I grew up in Seattle, Washington. So we would drive up to Victoria, Canada, Vancouver, Canada, go down to Oregon. Mm-hmm. And my dad would buy us 3-pack comic books. And I remember this was the entertainment. We would sit in the back of the car and read comic books, on a 3-hour drive to Canada. So, and then over time, it's like, I didn't want to throw away those comic books because they were so cool. They had great cover art, great stories. I remember this, and this is only when I'm like 6 or 7 years old. The artwork was way over my head and the stories were over my head. These were Jack Kirby Fourth World, Mr. Merkel, Forever Man, Neil Adams, Batman. I mean, I'm only like 5 or 6 years old reading this stuff, early, Flash 220, Batman 244. So it kind of piqued my interest about comics. And I started just keeping comics in a box, like a shoe box.
Right.
And then I quit collecting for about 5 years. And
Was
then,
it because of maximum clonage? I totally understand.
stopped collecting. And then in 5th grade, I got a paper route.
Okay.
And I started making big money as a 5th grader. And comics back then were 35 cents. Remember, it says now soon to
Still.
be a higher price.
Right.
Still only 35 cents.
Right.
So I kept seeing that still only 35 cents, and that was back in 1978, 79. So my collecting years started really going crazy in 1978, 79, 80. And that time of comic books is historical, to say the least. So that's when X-Men exploded.
Right.
So that was when John Byrne started with Chris Claremont, X-Men 108. My first X-Men comic that I bought was X-Men 122. So, the it started getting better and better and better and better up to the death of Phoenix in X-Men 137. So kind of that period. Plus you had Amazing Spider-Man at that time was really fun.
Yeah.
I also love Fantastic Four. I actually bought Fantastic Four number 200 off of the stands. That was a double page 60-cent issue. So I also got into vintage comics as well, because I had money for my paper route.
Right.
And back in those days, as a 5th grader and 6th grader, I used to take the Seattle Metro bus from North Seattle, Richmond Beach area, all the way to downtown Seattle and the University of Washington. And I used to visit like 7 comic book stores almost like every 2 weeks to scour what they have in their vintage bins. I was like interested in these 12-cent comics. And what really piqued my interest back then was Jack Kirby. Well, first of all, I loved Jack Kirby back in 5th grade and 6th grade. I loved his art from Devil Dinosaur, you name it. But Fantastic Four, I tried to start building a set when I was in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade of early Fantastic Fours. And my goal was trying to get issues 40 to 60, which I thought were a really great story arc. Yeah. That's when they started really coming into their own with the Inhumans, Fantastic Four, Black Panther, and Dr. Doom, by the way, my number one favorite.
Galactus in there,
I know, Galactus.
Silver Surfer,
So I have a memory. There was a store in downtown Seattle. It still exists today. My God, 40 years later, called Golden Age Collectibles. And they're inside Pike Place Market. And I used to go there, again, every 2 weeks. They had 5 or 6 comics for $1. I would be scrolling through the bins, looking for 5 for $1 type comics. And my God, they had 1963, 64, 65 comics in there. So I picked up a lot of my collection of Fantastic Four and for 25 cents each, Silver Age, between 40 through 60. But at that time, number 48 was going for $20. So I went to the, being this little snot-nosed kid, I went to the, the owner of Golden Age Collectibles and said, I want Fantastic Four number 48. And at that time, they had like 5 or 6 of them stacked on the table, and I wanted to pick the highest grade one. So back in 5th and 6th grade, I kind of realized I want to be a high grade collector.
That's awesome. Let's get into some of the books. We can continue this on as we go through, because I want to get to showing some books for some of these folks. Sure. Why don't you bring out the first book that you have to share with us today?
Well, I was just kind of having this fun thing up here in the beginning. It's not a slab. I apologize, but this comic is called...
out of here. No.
It's a...
No. All is forgiven for the Godzilla beside it. I'm good.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the Godzilla beside it makes it all good.
Sorry, the meeting just...
Oh, you're fine. You're here.
You're still here.
For some reason,
I don't know what you're seeing, but you're looking fine to us.
Yeah, just a second. There we go. Sorry. So this is called King of Adventure. 1975. The Japanese title is called Bo Ken Ho. up there.
Uh-huh.
And this was my favorite superhero when I was a kid because I used to visit Japan every few years, being
Okay.
born there. My mom's Japanese, and I had the happiness of visiting Japan as a child. But I just thought that this might be a kind of a cute little thing. This is called Kamen Rider Stronger, and that was kind of like my favorite Kamen Rider growing up.
That's awesome. Yeah, we had a lot of, for me, in the San Francisco Bay Area, I had a lot, was like growing up, rushing home. We had what I used to call, for the kids club, the block of man in giant rubber suit hours, where we had
Oh yeah.
Ultraman and Johnny Sokko and his fighting robot and Space Giants and all these different ones back to back. And then you had Battle of the Planets in there and
Yes.
stuff, which was all this just crazy stuff.
It's crazy. They're very violent, but very entertaining at the same time, and really good artwork. So,
Yeah.
well, let me.
Star Blazers.
Heidi, actually, we're going to try to keep it on
Starblazers.
current because we do have a hard stop, so we're going to keep it on schedule here.
Yes.
We're gonna get
I
moving
have
here.
12 comics I'm going to go through, and then
Yeah.
we'll kind of take the break here.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of start off with comics that I really love, that got me back into collecting, got me back into the addiction, and that really kind of started when I was in college. I quit collecting comics when I was in high school, and it was kind of my junior year in college that got me back into collecting. I went to the University of Washington, so I bought comics locally there, close to the UW. But one of the comics that became very, very hot in the 1980s was this first comic I'm going to show you, and this is Incredible Hulk 181. Wolverine is, along with Spider-Man, are my two favorite characters. So I wanted to start off, Rob and Chris, with my favorite superhero, and that's
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is a copy. I tried my goal
God.
9.8.
Oh my God. Yes. it's finally happened.
Dude,
you guys-
do I need to do it again for you, Chris?
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Look at that. The world's most famous Canadian in comics on Canada.
This is the most famous
9.8.
Canadian
Let's
comic. It's a legendary comic. And I mean, I was there in the 80s when this comic started going crazy. And I used to go to conventions, in the 1987, 88 in the Seattle area. There were cons downtown Seattle. There were cons by the University of Washington. And I was scouring every vendor. I didn't care what condition this comic was in. I wanted to get my hands on every single copy I could find. Honestly, even back then, 1985, getting a really good condition of this would cost you around $50, up to $100. And that's, back in 1987, 88. So I was lucky. I actually picked up a raw copy. I got it CGC certified the first year CGC came out around 2000, and I got a CGC 9.2. And
Nice.
I sold that. And then, but before selling that, I actually purchased this book. And this book in the late 2000s, it actually started hitting some very expensive bucks.
We're aware.
Yeah.
But then it came down. It came down over 50%. It came down about 66% from its high. And that's when I bought this. So, I was trying to take advantage of the cycle. And, just for comic collectors, I totally recommend, be patient.
Yes.
Look at the cost. Don't buy at the peak. Try to, look at the where the money's going. So I got lucky getting this. I love this comic. It's going to be a keeper forever.
Yeah, this
grave.
is something I've been saying a lot and people have been seeing. I've been picking up a lot of keys recently from that same reason. Is that it has been a downward trend. It's been more of a correction lately, where things are still up from where they were 4 or 5 years ago, but that spike has eroded. So, Chris, do you want to venture a guess on this one, where the valuation on this particular book is today?
I would easily guess what he has sitting in that stand there is a very large house. So I'm probably
depending upon where you're at, maybe Costa Rica. It's not.
I'm gonna
California.
Say
you're still talking about a car here.
$75,000.
You're right in the ballpark. Yeah, somewhere the recent sales on this book have put it for this calendar year between 70 to 78K. Very good.
which is a lot down from last couple of years, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But
the
you know,
COVID bubble changed the game.
it went
but
crazy.
yeah.
It went
But it's
overly
still
crazy.
a spicy meatball.
Oh,
Yeah.
a 9.8,
Yeah, I just
181.
love
Way to-
this.
Ken, I appreciate you setting the standard right now out of the gate, so everybody who knows when I said you're a high grade collector,
Get ready.
they understand we're not kidding around here.
Yep,
Yeah,
get
and I
ready,
saved the
everybody.
fireworks for last. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
starting,
Phenomenal.
average stuff.
This guys, put on your stretchy pants because he said he's easing you in.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
So this is another book I truly love. Actually, the first copy I bought in Cleveland, Ohio. That's where I worked my first 5 years. And at the time, I paid $125 for it. And then I sent it to CGC, and I got a 9.2. And then I sold it. Dang it! I sold it too early. So this comic peaked, like crazy, and then it's come down. So I bought this on the come down, but still, it was a very, very expensive book. But I really think that this is a book that, honestly, it's probably got maybe 10% to go lower. But I honestly, if you're a comic collector and you love the X-Men, now's the time. I mean, quantities are limited, of 9.6s and 9.8s definitely, 9.4s. But I think I'm trying to get these key books in the top 5 percentile. So if you get a 9.6 or a 9.8, you're in that top 5%, and that's easier to sell, in the future.
You're on the CGC board doing the whole registry and all the other stuff.
Oh, totally, yeah. For Spider-Man, I'm very competitive. So
awesome, that's amazing.
So, but
having just finally acquiesced and accepting that this book is a legit book and picking it up myself just the other week, though a significantly lower grade. I definitely, wow, 9.6.
It's a good book to own. I mean, it feels good to have it. It's such a cool cover, and it's so historical with so many important characters. We know
Exactly.
Marvel is still trying to figure out what they want to do, with movies. But we'll be patient. We know that this is going to be legendary, for collectors and storyline. I mean, there's so much potential.
100%. Awesome.
Yeah. And I'm telling this comic in the 70s and the 80s was actually more popular than Giant Size X-Men #1, and that's X-Men.
Oh my.
This comic is actually more valuable in 9.8 and 9.6s than the Giant Size X-Men 1, primarily because of the rarity. So, I mean, there's only like 20 or 30 copies in 9.8 versus, 180 copies of Giant Size X-Men 1. So the value of the X-Men 94 actually is more than Giant Size X-Men 1.
I hope that everything's going well for you and that everything went well. Sorry.
Yeah, plus it's a darker cover.
It's dark,
much
green.
more difficult to get in a higher grade than GSX1, which is a standard white all the way around outside of the the explosion in the middle of the page. But my God,
I totally
9.6.
This comic, honestly, in today's market, you can get at a pretty reasonable price, and I really think it's a good investment, for the long-term collector. I mean, right now you're looking at mid 1975. These are getting more and more scarce, and I think more mature collectors of Silver Age, Bronze Age, this is a must-have, especially in high grade.
You were nice to give some censusness. So this is the top 2% of all the books on this particular one. This is.
Yeah, and I bought this. I don't know if you know the guy Harley Yee.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Every convention, Harley's
every convention
here in Canada too. Yep.
So Harley's a really good guy, and I bought this from him, and he accepted my negotiated price, and we were good to go.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've bought some mystery and space books from him. But
next couple of books, again, I love X-Men. I'm trying to build a run of X-Men all in 9.8s. From 94 up to 143. It's a very tough collection.
Here I was thinking maybe I'll just do a run. Like
I have a run now
if I had to, but my goodness, 9.8 run.
I'm trying, but you got to be patient. So, and I'm a very patient collector.
And just a big shiny UPC code on the front of that 9.8.
Yeah, this is the reason I picked this comic is just It's the first cover that John Byrne ever did.
Yeah.
And I really think for beginner collectors, try to get this one early in your collection because there are not many on the census in high grades. So 9.6s and 9.8s, they're very, very limited supply. And this being the first John Byrne cover, I'm sure sophisticated collectors are going to catch up and go, oh my God, this is the one you need to get now and don't wait. So when this pops up, I would recommend people get it while you can. And it's a cool cover. It has Magneto, has all the characters.
Well,
you see Wolverine is knocked out on the bottom right there.
Well, the one, whenever I see this out, automatically my eye draws to Banshee. That's at the highest point in the,
He's right there,
cover there. Yep.
Yep.
And yeah, Burns Banshee was my favorite.
He's cool. It's cool he came back in the new X-Men.
Yeah.
The next comic I got is my favorite character again, Wolverine. And again, another issue that's
Hellfire.
X-Men
That's awesome.
133 is the first time that Wolverine is front and center in a comic book on his own. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't know why this is even more popular than it is. You know, after X-Men 181, this is the second most important Wolverine comic to have.
Yeah,
you know, this came out in 1980, which is still pretty early, you know, for Wolverine. So
in a 9.8.
It's cool action. You know, you see Wolverine's front and center booting up everybody.
Yeah, it was, you know, it was actually this story here, the tail end of the introduction of the Hellfire Club that where there was such a large warm reception to Wolverine that Claremont came with the idea for Days of Future Past, which again had Wolverine front and center.
That was number 141. Yep.
Yep.
It's an interesting position that you take in saying that this may be the second most important Wolverine book outside of Hulk 181.
Yeah,
because that means you're pushing Hulk 180 his actual first appearance.
You know, I don't own 180.
Oh, you don't own 180. Oh well,
I've never had interest in it.
Oh, really?
You know, he's not on the cover, and he's just in one panel. So
okay,
yeah.
Well, he's back page. Yeah, it's still his first appearance. It may be a cameo. But it's
a cameo. So, but you know, I haven't had interest in it because I've been putting my money in Spider-Man comics.
Well, we understand that as long as they're old Spider-Man books, because the current ones are shite.
Yeah.
But anyways, awesome book.
Pretty covers though.
Yeah, really cool. You know, John Byrne, lots of action. Another big comic that I really liked, and this is the least expensive comic, but I have a lot of heart behind it, and I love it. Is Sergio Aragones. And he created a character called Gru the Wanderer. And this is the most, probably the best Gru the Wanderer cover and the most rare on the census. And it's not, you know, a banger or anything, but I just think it's pretty funny because, you know, it's a Frank Frazetta homage, you know, to Conan the Barbarian. And I just love Gru the Wanderer. That actually got me back into collecting comics, that and Dark Knight Returns. So just, you know, they're kind of extreme, you know, Frank Miller, Batman, Sergio Aragones comedy. But I mean, this is what kept me coming back every month to the comic book stores, you know, to buy comics and read comics. So I bought comics not just to read and invest, but I bought comics for the enjoyment as well. So, but I think Sergio Aragones his art is hilarious. You know, how he draws.
Yep.
He did a whole bunch of mockumentary books and stuff and everything else, or not mockumentary, but
and he did
poking fun at that. Anyway, never mind.
He did a lot of
mocking of stuff. So so that kind of talked about my origins from the late 80s and early 90s of, you know, what kind of comics I liked. I loved the X-Men. I loved Gru the Wanderer, that type of thing. In the last 4 or 5 years, I've been really getting hooked on Golden Age comics. So I noticed your YouTube channel always has these really great Golden Age comics. So, and unfortunately, mine are not as close as nice as some of the recent people you've shown. I mean, their comics blow me away. Because since
they blow me away too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of late to the party on Golden Age, but at least I'm starting to get my feet wet in it. And what I like to do, you guys, is I like to buy what I love. You know. So obviously,
it's great advice to everybody.
Yeah, buy what you love.
Buy what you love, what you want. Don't listen to anybody.
Holy cow!
This is what I love.
God damn you, Ken.
6.5.
It's a 6.5, but I mean, it really presents well because it has off-white, the white pages.
Not a knock, man. That's an incredible book. 6.5. That's awesome.
When we get to famous funnies and we get to Frazetta Buck Rogers stuff,
Right, yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's higher grades right out there, but
yeah,
this is a solid grade.
It's black
and
black cover.
The Frazetta Buck
beautiful
Rogers.
Red dress, beautiful aliens attacking. Got the Earth or some planet in the back. This has, it checks all of the boxes of what I consider to be a great science fiction, good girl art, monsters, everything, violence. This has everything going for it. I think there's a lot of debate on what's the best Frank Frazetta cover, but I actually think this is definitely in the top 3 in the Famous Funnies run. That's my personal opinion.
I'm a huge, as everybody who watches my channel knows, I'm a huge Atomic Age fan. The classic 50s, 40s sci-fi, bubble helmets, robots, space rocket ships, all that fun stuff. Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon, love them up the wazoo. I just got done on my way to Heroes Con. I watched the 5.5 hours of Buck Rogers serials with Buster Crabbe and stuff. It was
wow.
Just amazing stuff. And these Frazetta Buck Rogers covers, I mean, I'll tell you, I look at them all the time and have yet to pull the trigger on them because even in low grade, these are not like cheap books.
Yeah.
And
they've gone up in the last few years a lot.
It's really, and that's the problem actually with being in love with Golden Age and Atomic Age sci-fi is, well, there's a lot of great covers. The ones that are like the really big keys, the super coveted ones, or there's certain criteria where you hit robot covers or the bondage or something, or if you combine them where all of a sudden the prices just go through the roof based on cover subject matter. Crazy. That is an awesome
what year is that book?
It's 1954. So, I think you had Comic Collector Geek. He was explaining that the end of the Golden Age was kind of that 1954, 55 time. But that's also the time when we had maximum creativity, maximum violence, maximum beautiful art. This is when Frazetta was starting to hit his peak. Even he wrote in some memo that he said, I feel like I'm at my peak right now, when he was, doing art in that 1950, early 50s.
Yeah, we get that Golden Age kind of runs. There's this kind of overlap mudding area, which is why I like to refer, especially when it's sci-fi books in this era. I just generically, I like to use the Atomic Age term because it bypasses that whole Golden and Silver Age issue, and your Atomic Age runs roughly from 1945 with the dropping of the atomic bomb through 1958. So it kind of is this kind of subgenre overlap that just works perfect for these.
Well, then I got some more for you.
Yeah, I know.
So, obviously this is my first Famous Funnies. I'm on the lookout for more, at the right price, at the right deals.
Famous Funnies was my first Platinum Age book I ever picked up.
Oh, cool. This is my first Planet Comics.
Nice.
And this is, and the reason I picked this up, I just think Fiction House as a brand is just so cool. Rangers Comics, Fight Comics, Planet Comics, Wings, all of these different groups that they had, high quality art. All of the covers were just unbelievable, but also the interior pages are unbelievable. So this comic I thought was the first good girl art for an alien, but it's not. So this is an early good girl alien cover with another, another good girl fighting a monster. And I picked this up recently at the California Comic Con this year from Fantastic Worlds Comics out of Scottsdale, Arizona.
That's awesome. That's great cover art there.
It's a lot of cool stuff on there.
Yeah. What I love about Planet Comics is there's some of the few that I remember from this era as I look back where it was not uncommon for the woman not to be a damsel, but to be the heroine on of the cover, and sometimes even the man is the one who's being rescued by the woman. And there's a lot of fun covers in the Planet Comics.
You don't even see any men in the action on this cover. It's just all women. This lady was trying to kill the monster, and then she's fighting the monster. It's just really cool.
Yeah, I just picked up another one recently where it's got a a woman just blasting a hole in a rocket ship.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, my hero's gone home. Yeah.
Yeah. The next comic is I think it's the coolest weird science comic from EC. I actually got this a few years ago, so this was one of the first Golden Age comics.
8.5.
It's a Wally Wood, beautiful comic, 8.5. But I mean, it's in perfect condition. I love the colors, but just it's fascinating looking at the children that are looking at the aliens. They're hiding behind a rock, and it reminds me when I was a kid. I used to like hide behind rocks and look at stuff and spy.
Can you bring that a little bit closer to the camera for a second? So you see that alien? I mean, from this distance, I was trying to remember this one is like, it reminds me of like the Mars Attacks aliens.
It is a very Mars Attacks kind of
very
look.
Cool.
But you can see there's lots of spaceships. There's like 4 of them coming.
Yeah, UFO
it's an invasion.
Covers. Yeah, the UFO covers. There's another one that'll add a few dollars to the cover.
It's just a cool cover, and and this comes up for sale on Heritage maybe twice a year. That's it. So it doesn't come up for sale very often.
Yeah.
The next 2 comics are the low grade comics, but there's only like 43 on the census, so they only come up once a year. This past year it actually came up twice, but I have always wanted these comics, and I really think it's fun for science fiction horror collectors, and I think this artist is pretty. It takes some getting used to. Weird Tales of the Future, issue number 3, and they only made, I believe, like 8 or 9 issues. And Basil Wolverton did the art for only 2 issues, 100%. He also did the art on one other issue, about 50%. So I'm going to show you 2 of his covers where he did all of the art. And I just think it's really fascinating. His technical ability, his pencil is just so detailed. And everything about it to me is just really cool looking. The colors, you name it.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen too many weird comics beyond like a 4 or 5 anyways. They tend to...
Well, it's so dark, right? The cover's so
it's dark.
Yeah.
And the girl is so surprised after laying flowers, this guy pops out,
Yeah.
Dr. Von
Ken,
Hood.
what year was this book? Is this 51, 52?
This book is 1952, September. Yep. And it's from Aragon Publications.
Yep.
So, and I think I saw this on other YouTubes is, there's a lot of competition between comic book companies in the early 50s. They're all trying to outdo each other with fantastic covers and and incredible storylines. And this comic to me is the capitalism at its best. These guys are going crazy with the artwork, trying to look better than the other comic next to it on the stands,
pushing
and
the
trying
envelope
to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
The next cover I actually like a lot better because it's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
It just it says, they just landed the ship and the captain is speaking and he's saying, you don't need to worry. There's no inhabitants on this planet. Everyone just stay calm. We were just going to be here patiently. He's just trying to be a nice captain. And while he's talking on the intercom, you got all these giant aliens running at this lady at the window, and they all have guns in their hands as they're running. So it's such a cool cover.
Oh, I guess I was like, is she wearing a top? I guess she is.
She's wearing a nightgown. She's just sleeping. She just woke up in her spaceship room.
It could barely tell.
And I wonder why they came up with the Comics Code Authority. But okay.
This is why. And I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly. I've heard many ways, but I say Basil Wolverton. And then the last comic I got, my 50% mark, and now we're kind of getting into the edge of the Silver Age. I consider this to be one of the coolest pre-hero monster Marvel comics. And this actually came from the Atlas world. This is one of the coolest pre-hero monster covers.
Nice.
It's the first appearance of Mummex, the king of the mummies.
Awesome.
So I just think you can see Kirby's pencils were just very tight, really fine. I love his art.
So Ken, not only is this one an early Kirby, but this is also an early CGC. What's the grade on that book?
It's a 7.5. And like the highest is a 9.0. you know.
Wow.
And I paid a lot for this because I just love this cover. It only
Yes.
comes up for sale like once a year on Heritage or Comic
Yep.
Link, etc. But it's just one of the coolest covers in the pre-hero Marvels.
Awesome.
So this is going to kind of link into what I'm going to present after. So this is halftime.
Okay.
What I'll cover next will be talk about Jack Kirby,
Awesome.
my favorite artist.
Holy Toledo, sir. Way to get us started here. Appreciate that very much. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and let's just go. Hey, sometimes you have to have standards. So hashtag standards, throw that in the chat there. We'll use that for our giveaway that's coming up here. Want to remind everybody, as you see on the scroll ticker going below, it's still time for nominations are still open into August, the beginning of August, for the CBC Awards. So go to cbcawards.org, nominate your favorite channels for the various different categories for that. Also, let's take a quick moment to say, let me see if I can find my stuff. Holy cow. I'm all discombobulated. I want to thank all the channel members. Again, 100% of this channel's revenue goes to Comics Curing Cancer. That's ad revenue, merch sales, super chats, etc., etc. These channel members, they're $3.99 a month that they pay, or $2.99 a month, whatever it is, goes. Put it up. What is it? It's $2.99 a month. Goes to Comics Curing Cancer, and we appreciate them. The Comic Vet, Nick's Kicks and Comics, Travis Vick, Six Face, Chris at Retro Rocket Comics, Stephen C, Actual Dracula, Jack B Comics, Tate Prime, PSN Green Hulkster, Digger Jim 720, Legion of Comics, Blue Hellions Comics, Dr. Von Hoot's Comics from the Spiral Dimension, Comic Ozzy, Flo Dameron, Beckerman, DJ Links, Remy Q Studios, Comics by the Bay, Sector 2815, Gary B the Casual Comic Guy, The Real James Willie, Dale of Suspense Comics, The Comic Viking, Circumstances, Collecting with Durs, Chaos in Comics, Viaje Comico de Papa, Marty Aleko, Justin Birch Comics, Comic Journey, Trev the Shipping Guru, TM Nerdy, Matt268, Comics with Murdoch, Frenzy 5150, Austin LeMay, Norenrad82, Comic Man Andy, Mad Spidey, Cupo Comics, Burke Family 54 Comics, Switch Comics, Ben Parker Comics, Seth 11, Hulk Collector 82, Brian LCS, El Green Machine, Izzyverse NYC Comics, A Comic Bookworm, Jean Malot, Cole's Comic Claims, Chuck Hensey, Lone Eagle Comics, or Lone Eagle, Comic Verse, KBDM, Cat Fan Comics Man, Taylor Winder, Triple G Comics, Noggin Comics, Aggressively Relaxing, Collectible Inc., Chop and Drop 2013, Wayne Deacon, and now Charlene Deacon. Thank you all so much. Appreciate you and your channel membership. Every channel members, of course, at the beginning of each month are eligible for the Henchman of the Month award. So appreciate you all for that. Yeah, well, there you are. Ken, now I know you're mostly an IG guy, but do you have any other appearances or anything else coming up on YouTube's the next? Nope. All right.
No, you're my first ever. So
well, oh my goodness.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for coming on with us for your first. Hopefully, we won't be your last.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Before I go ahead and spin this here, also we'll want to remind everybody that coming up next week, Mr. Comics 89 will be returning. So you want to make sure you check around, make your bookmark for that. And then tomorrow, I have a special with the Rogue Trader at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, a special live stream. The Rogue Trader will join me as we go through one book's journey, my Timely Comics Submariner book that I picked up and repatriated from Australia with the help of Mad Spidey. Has gone through 6+ months at the Rogue Trader, getting cleaned, pressed, having mold remediation done, having some various other work done, and then it's back from CGC. So we'll find out together whether or not did we maintain a universal grade? Did we gain a grade? Do we lose a grade? Do we stay even? We'll get a chance to learn about some of the processes that he put the book through and go from there. So let's go ahead and do it and get back into some slabs. Ladies and gentlemen, Wheel of Fish. Bang. Joffrey Castro. Congratulations, sir. All right, so let me let's see, we'll remove that, and then we will go to this mode. Yes. All right, Ken. So here's the deal.
Watch your background.
We're going to be pulling 6 books for Joffrey.
Okay.
And you're going to be selecting those books for him. So you're going to be giving me a number either 1 through 10 from the front, 1 through 10 from the back, or we'll do some back to front action. Then you'll just randomly tell me when to stop. And when we do that, I will then we'll pull books from there. We're going to be pulling
let's
6
do
books in total.
1 through 10 from the front.
1 through 10?
Number 5 from the front.
Got it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. That's our first book.
And number 5 from the back.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right.
And let's say 7 from the front.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And number 1 from the back.
Last book. All right. 2 more. We can.
And number 3 from the front.
3 from the front. All right. Pull heavily from the front and back. All right.
And let's say 10 from the back.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right.
Any more?
Oh, that's it.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Rob, we got a sticker or a super chat here from JG.
No, it looks like he just. It's a sticker, I guess. Yep. Awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that very much. All right. Okay, first book up here, Joffrey. You have Avengers West Coast issue 65, Fear the Reaper. Along with that, you've got some Pokemon cards, courtesy of
Shattered Glass.
No, it's not Shattered
Ready
Glass
for
anymore.
Wednesday.
Ready for Wednesday, sure. Yeah, it's not Shattered Glass anymore. But
Tyler, everybody.
Basically, it translates to Daddy's Comic Journey. Batman 103. Ghostmaker versus Clown Hunter.
Some Tynan era Batman.
Maestro issue 1.
Very nice.
Variant edition.
Very nice. Great story as well.
We got a trade paperback from Spider-Man and Spider-Gwen sitting in a tree. We've got a signed book signed by Don Perlin, The Defenders, issue 87. With your COA on the back. And last, we have a slab.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Whoa.
We have Silver Surfer Black issue 5, courtesy of Man Cave Comics.
Oh, that's awesome.
The Mary Jane variant.
Nakayama. Very nice.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Amazing Mary Jane variant cover. Nakayama variant cover. Yep, so there you are. Congratulations, sir. If in case I don't have your information, you can always ping me on Instagram at Rob's Fat Stacks, and I will get those out to you. Congratulations. We'll give away some more books here at the end of the show, so don't go running off, folks. Oops. And Ken, back to you, sir.
Okay. So the next group of comics are more comics I love. I really, before buying Golden Age, I couldn't buy all of the, runs. So instead of buying runs, I always like to buy key issues. And I grew up with Overstreet Price Guide. I'm not sure if you guys ever bought the Overstreet Price Guide.
Of course.
But that was a Bible, for me in the 80s and the 90s. I used to buy it every year. It's fun to read kind of the first section that talks about different different vendors and collectors, famous collectors, talking about the state of the comic book industry. And one of the things that I really paid attention to was Overstreet always noted Overstreet classic cover. So, and these issues were not necessarily that expensive. So I'm going to be kind of showing you some actual Overstreet designated classic covers. But the first issue I wanted to show was my favorite bad guy. And growing up, ever since I was in grade school, I've loved Dr. Doom. This is a second copy that I've owned of Dr. Doom.
Oh, God, Peter, hit me!
Yeah!
Ow!
The 8.0. 8.0.
And this is the second copy I bought. I actually bought a copy back in 1987. I paid about $500 for it, raw. And I did it by mail order to a big company called Fantasia out of New York. And he was claiming it was near mint, minus. So I bought it back in the 80s, through an advertisement in a comic book. And I sent him the money. I received it at my parents' house. I was still living at home. And 15 years later, I sent it to CGC, and it got the purple label. Purple label of death. And unfortunately, but it had touch up, But those are the lessons you learn. Don't buy expensive books over the mail. Definitely. Honestly, I think CGC has been a great company for collectors, since its origins, 2000. So, I try to avoid buying books that are touched, because I'm really trying to get high grade books.
Right.
So
I will tell you that was amazing because I just saw, there's such a price difference too, because I saw it was someplace I was looking where Submariner #1, Golden Age Submariner #1, there was a restored and a non-restored in a very similar grade.
Mm-hmm.
And the restored copy at a higher grade, I think restored was an 8.0 and the non-restored was like a 7. And it was like $50,000 less than the 7.0 unrestored. And I was like, blows your mind how much of a difference that really makes.
I'm noticing restored level 1. However, there's potential for removing the restoration because that's like the minimum number, but I still think that's pretty dang risky to buy those big books.
Yeah.
So the first issue I have, this is an Overstreet classic cover, the first one. If you look at it's a Fantastic Four. So if you're looking at all of the Jack Kirby issues, I think he did like #1 up to like 103 or something. And this is the only issue that's been designated a classic cover. And this is the Hulk versus the Thing battle cover in the downtown. The city's on fire. You see all the other Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic, Human Torch, Invisible Girl. They're all injured. They're out of it. They've all been beat up by the Hulk. And the only person standing is the Thing. And you can see the Thing is a lot smaller than the Hulk. And the Hulk is overpowering. Honestly, I think that this comic is so cool, it has a dark purple background. So that kind of makes it tough and high grade. So, I've always had a goal of trying to get this in a 9.2 or higher. You can still get this comic pretty affordably, comparatively with other major keys. But I do love this comic. I just think it has the feeling and the essence of Marvel being at the best of at their peak, in 1964. So.
Ken, would you mind doing me a favor on the blue label? Would you mind reading us the right side of that blue label?
Sure. Hulk versus Thing, classic cover, Avengers appearance. This is the second Silver Age appearance of Captain America. So after Avengers #4.
Yeah.
And that is Jack Kirby,
multiple key book.
Mm-hmm. Just so much action going on with the fire in the background.
Yeah.
Everything is going on.
Wonder how many people would have guessed Captain America's second appearance in the Silver Age would have been in the pages of the Fantastic Four.
The Avengers came in the end of it.
Right.
Yeah.
The next cover is the Overstreet classic cover for Journey into Mystery #89. And this is the classic Thor hammer cover. And then I bought this from Texas Comic Company, and they sent me information that Stanley visited and signed the slab. So, but,
It's a signature on the outside of the slab.
Side of the slab. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's just a cool Thor cover, and this is issue number 89. And I see this comic come up on Heritage maybe once every 2 or 3 years. So it's very scarce, and collectors don't want to sell this comic. I've never seen a 9.2 or 9.4 in like the last 4 or 5 years on any auction house.
Gorgeous cover.
Yeah, I'm speechless. Sorry.
And I mean, Overstreet, I mean, when he designates classic cover, he doesn't mess around. You know what I mean? He only did one classic cover in Journey and Mystery, one classic cover in Fantastic Four, and that's it. The next is a classic cover.
Because I know what's coming.
This is also designated Overstreet classic cover for Tales of Suspense.
Yes.
And it's just powerful, with it's a misunderstanding, between Iron Man and Captain America. And it starts kind of the Captain America run in Tales of Suspense. So after Avengers #4, which was, I think, about 10 months later, then they said, hey, let's give Captain America his own comic as well. So Tales of Suspense 58 kind of introduced Captain America with a really cool battle, with Iron Man.
Yeah, classic Kirby.
Classic Kirby all the way right there. And, Kirby created and designed with Joe Simon, Captain America. So it's really cool to see him, at his best, back in the Marvel Silver Age battling Iron Man. This next issue is not a classic cover, but it's a comic that I recently picked up this year at the California Comic Con. And I just think it's a cool cover. Fin Fang Foom. And
wow.
This is Strange Tales 89. It's called Marvel. Yeah, it has a little MC up there, so Marvel Comics. But I've always been fascinated by these monsters that Jack Kirby created, the pre-hero monsters. They're always, when I was a kid, I would see these, in really bad condition. I bought them and read them, back when I was a kid, because they were being sold at, comic stores in downtown Seattle really cheap. And they were just fun reads. These monster stories are fun. But I think that this is just one of the coolest.
Yeah, Fing Bang Boom. Yep.
I bought, just to answer the question, I actually bought this at California Comic Con. So when I met with the vendor, we were just he had it at a list price. And what I did is we talked about GPA and, what's been the prices, the last 30 days, 90 days, 1 year. And we just came to an agreed price through negotiation, and I paid, and I paid them. So I get, I would say about 20% of my collection through auction. I'm not through going to conventions and meeting with dealers and talking with them, negotiating with them. Like Harley Yee. I mean, I think Harley's a really good guy. I think he prices very close to GPA, and he tries to be reasonable. And I think we all love people that are reasonable. You know what I mean? That are within fair market value. So
I really love the ones that are below market value.
I do too, of course.
But they don't always get that.
Exactly. So, but I think this is cool. It's a green cover. It's big monsters, and again, it just shows the genius and creativity of Jack Kirby.
I was just SDC's gonna suck hard this year. Looks like half empty, same price. Yep, exactly. With a lot of people pulling out of SDCC. Huh?
Now, you guys, now I'm going to kind of finish my main claim to fame for collecting is Spider-Man, and I've been a Spider-Man collector since I was in 5th grade. So,
we all, you got two big Spider-Man fans here, especially anything that's volume 1, because
the original Spider-Mans are so cool. My life goal has been to have very high grade Spider-Man collection. I have now completed my collection, so I only need to update maybe a few issues to even higher grades to make it even more immaculate. But I'm pretty much 99% there. I do have a full run, all of them in incredibly high grade, and it took me 31 years to make this collection. So
everyone, get ready.
So
So
get the question
buckle
out.
your
First of all,
seatbelts.
I will say that you know, Ken is from an undisclosed location today, and he diversifies the locations of his collection. He's the first person I've ever had it. When I talked to him, he said, "Well, I need at least a certain amount of time because I have to go to X number of locations to go get books," and which is logical. But hypothetically, let's say that you were an idiot like me and kept all of your books at home,
Ooh.
and a fire came and you could only save one book. What one book from your collection are you?
It's going to be
That'll
the last
the
one.
last book I present.
The last
Very
one.
good. Stick around for that answer.
Yeah.
I like that.
So,
Phenomenal.
this first book, though, honestly, I tried to keep this one too. So, my main collection is I have Spider-Man, Amazing Fantasy 15, and then 1 through 100, and then I have annuals number 1 through 6, and that is actually the number one most competitive registry group on the CGC registry. So if you go, they have lots of different groups on the registry, and it's called Spider-Man 1 through 100 and AF15 1 through 6 annual. So I've been trying to, every time I upgrade my comics, I type the new number and then the points go up, on the registry. And I'm trying to get higher in the ranks,
I'm just trying to finish my 1 through 100.
Like Ken, I just did. Ken, I did
I'm
1
2
to
books
50.
away.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's how I started, and it took time to. So like this first comic, I've owned this comic 4 times. So from low
this
grade,
very book,
just keep coming.
or this is just an upgrade. Okay.
Oh,
Hello, nurse.
9.6 Green Goblin. 9.6 Green Goblin. I'm good. I'm good.
And it has the CVA, whatever that means. But this, it goes without saying, this is probably the second most important Spider-Man comic in the run, being the first appearance of the Green Goblin and the most important villain historically for Spider-Man. And this is the second highest grade. There is one 9.8 that's above it. And I think this one really presents really well. And it's perfect.
Cares, Ken?
You think a 9.6 presents well?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. The rest of us now with our 2 5s and 3s who use that term now feel like
I think mine's a 1.0. Detached cover. Wow. That's for the ASM run. I would say yes. That's top 2. And then
Spider-Man 13. I actually bought this on eBay from a guy in Washington State who's a really famous dealer up there. And I just this is a hard book to get in high grades.
Yeah.
But I've owned this one a long time. It was one of the first in my run that was high grade.
Yeah, Marvel chipping as well for that particular.
It's tough. And this is white, it has the black on the edge over here. Just a really tough book to get in high grade, but it's just cool. I mean, when you look at Steve Ditko's artwork, it's just really, really cool in this one.
Yeah. Like the way the webbing shoots out on that one.
The busted blanket covers the one that I've heard.
Now, you guys know I love Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
We're going to go. Okay.
So we got the Dr. Doom famous issue. This issue came out after Fantastic Four number 17. So, Dr. Doom appeared he was in number 5, number 6, 10, 16, 17. And then he popped in this one.
Yeah! Yeah!
I got this comic about 6 years ago. The website is called pedigreecomics.com. And I highly recommend them. They kind of go under the radar with high grade.
If you're looking for 9.6, everyone, first Doom outside of the Fantastic Four, here you go. If you're working on your 1 to 10 ASM run, here you go.
That's awesome.
My God, Ken, that is incredible. And how it's not a 9.8, I don't know, but that's
there is
gorgeous.
actually, I think there's one 9.8, and then there's like 10 9.6s. But this one doesn't come up for sale very often. It's like once every 2 years.
Yeah. To put it in perspective. So for this one, I did do some pre-research on some of these books, Chris. So for this one, I can't give you, the 9.6 and 9.8 can't give you any kind of recent fair. It's
Very
like
small.
some of the Golden Age books. It sells for whatever it sells for
Yeah.
at the time it comes up for sale.
Mhm.
Yep.
But we do have a recent 9.4 transaction
Okay.
on this book.
Hmm.
Would you care to speculate what the 9.4 went for?
See, my gut wants to go 6 figures, but I've been shooting hard lately. So I'm going to say 65.
No, not that
Way
much.
high.
Yeah, it'd be in the
So
20s.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
$21,000 for the 9.4
Yeah.
Or
was
9.4.
was a recent sale on this book. So
Okay.
probably figure the 9.6 is somewhere around 30.
Oh my God, it's a
But
BMW.
again,
He's
but
putting
again,
on a
it's
BMW,
a car.
everybody.
yeah, but then again, it's a book that at a 9.6, there's so few of these books. And as Dr. Doom being so pivotal, this is a book that, well, if you were to try to assign it a value and could say it's somewhere around 30 to 35, it honestly, it could, when it comes up for sale, if somebody wants it and is looking for that, it's going to sell for whatever it wants to sell for, because there's not a lot of options.
Yeah, it's so rare, and most collectors are keeping it in their collection.
Yeah.
So,
Especially when
like,
you get to that
I
grade.
wouldn't sell it for 35. That's in my, no way. It'd probably be, I'd sell it for over 100, because it's hard to replace and it'd take a long time and
Yep.
it'd break my collection. Honestly, number 5 was one of the last comics for me to purchase in my collection, in my run for high grade, and it's a tough book to find.
Yeah.
Here's another tough one, but it did sell in Heritage in the last signature auction, and that's a 9.2 number 4, first appearance of Sandman. This is another really, really tough book to get, but I kind of love I know a lot of people hate this cover, but I like the cover. I think
I
just
do
really
too.
cool, you know?
Yeah, I don't mind the serial style of that one. Like it to me, reading a lot of Spider-Man in newspapers in the late 70s, this I have no issue with. It's the red though, right? It's the red in the shipping that always hurts this particular grade. Not to say that yours is hurt, because it's the highest grade I've ever seen outside
The
of
reds on this one are actually
Yeah.
pretty bold, which I was
Yeah.
really happy when I got it, and it didn't have any at all Marvel chipping. So again, it's a 9.2. Very, very happy to get this comic at the time I got it. I've owned this probably about 15 years, you know, from the early CGC days.
But if you happen to have a 9.4 or higher, let Ken know. He'll
Oh, it's going to be,
he'll work something out with you.
yeah, they've had them for sale. I'm happy with this 9.2.
a 9.2.
I'd be, yeah. Those are just great.
Wow.
Oh,
Here we go.
see, there's one of the books I need for my collection.
Dr. Octopus, this is, you know, a lot of collectors, you know, either this or Amazing Spider-Man 14 are, you know, considered the most important issues after number 1. And it's just a cool cover. Steve Ditko, you know, Dr. Octopus in the dark in the background, and has kind of a cool brick background, and
Yeah,
Spider-Man's being held by his arms.
I mean,
See,
Doc Ock's obviously he's number 1.5 on the villain list for Spider-Man.
Yes.
I think.
Pick your poison at this point. For me, this is the best early Ditko cover. To me, this should have
Yeah, it's
been
cool.
ASM 1. No, I know ASM 1 catches a lot of flack.
Yeah.
To me, this one is a little bit more iconic. Outside, obviously, AF 15 had the Kirby cover.
Yeah.
This to me is the best Ditko cover from 1 to 10. This one here, I just think it's iconic. Yeah.
It's a cool one.
And a 9.2. My God, a 9.2.
Yeah, this will be, I guarantee you, because I'm working on mine. Number 3 is probably going to be the last of my.
I have a second copy of number 3.
You probably still, if you have it, it's probably still above the grade I'm looking.
Oh my God, 2 and a 9.2. Holy frick.
This
Here's the other book.
to get this. On Comic Link, I highly recommend Comic Link. You know, they have so many good comics on their auctions, and you can sometimes get deals.
Oh man!
But this is a tough issue. It's an off-white to white, you know, issue number 2.
Said Pete again.
Oh my God!
Tough to get in high grade. This one,
And
you know,
the
with
thing
no
is-
shipping. This is a perfect copy.
If you have a yard sale, let us know.
Yeah.
So we've had a few 1s on the show. We've had a few AF-15s. There hasn't been that many 2s. Ken, would you mind reading us the right side of that
Sure.
label? Because it's actually a double key. It's not just. It's
It's
just
the
a single
first
key.
appearance of the Vulture, you know, who
Mhm.
was in the Spider-Verse movie. and The Terrible Tinkerer.
That's right.
The Terrible Tinkerer.
The Terrible Tinkerer. And the thing is, I should have mentioned on Spider-Man number 3, that was the first full story Spider-Man issue. So this actually was like two stories in there. So, but just a cool issue, and you don't see this comic very often in auctions.
Not in those kind of grades, no.
This next comic
Never.
is one of my treasures. When I got this, I had a big bucket list check off.
Tell me about it.
My goal was to get that in 8 or a...
Oh, God, Peter, hit me!
Yeah!
Ow!
8.0. Oh my God.
And
Rob, that's like double like your and mine put together.
It's more than double ours put together, my
and
friend.
there's change left over. Oh,
a lot of people, they don't like the cover, but I think I have a nostalgia, know, when I see this comic. When I hold this comic, I feel nostalgia of dreams when you're a kid of owning this comic. And I think I've owned this comic for about 20 years. I bought this on eBay a long time ago. Yeah. And you know how you're bidding in the last 30 seconds and you're just hoping for the win, on eBay.
Yeah, I got mine off eBay too, but it's not an 8.0.
Yeah. So since you brought it up, Chris.
Yeah.
So what do you think at 8.0 is worth? Because you said double ours, and
one just sold just recently.
Right. That's why I'm saying is like I have pretty good information about what the.
Okay, well, I know that a 2.0 has cleared $10,000. So, wow, an 8.0, and to me that looks a lot better than 8.0. Yeah. $60,000, or am I low?
High.
I'm high again.
A little bit.
Yeah. So
45 to 50.
52.
It's right around, 52 is on this, and so that's a big difference. I mean, look, I just bought a 0.5 last month, missing a back cover, right? That was I got it for $1,000 under FMV, and I paid $3,500 for it, and I still see them selling at $4,600. So you put ours together, we're barely scraping getting a 2.5 to a 3, Chris. This book is a book that just keeps going up to the point where I hear people who want to get into this book who honestly sit there and say they're targeting the Golden Record reprints as the book that they will
GRR.
get, because for those of us who are for those people who are not willing to spend over $1,000.
Oh, okay.
or only maybe a single multiple. When I bought mine, I'll be honest, because when I spent $3,500 on mine, that's the most I've ever spent on a comic book. And that was a difficult step up when previously you'd spent around, your high had been about $1,100 to step up to $3,500. So, I mean, it gets easier. I mean, hell, Heroes Con was a lot easier for me.
Right.
Once you break those barriers, but yeah, for some people, I know that's just not every collector can, even saving up, can put this in, so they do look at sometimes those other alternatives. But
this is
an amazing, impressive book.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
The AF-15, even low grades, 0.5, 1.0, they are out there, and that you can see them, but they're not affordable. Like, these are 5-figure books, easily every day. And then people said, okay, well, if I can't get the first, maybe I can get the second, which is pictured right here. Well, guess what? Now, unless you're prepared like Rob for an entry-level grade to spend more north of $3,000 US, guess what? Now if you really want one, you're going to have to either you can't get into the ASM manual one, because that's an expensive book too. Yeah. You may want to consider looking at the GRR, which is a gold record reprint. It's basically the exact same thing without the 12-cent bubble on the left corner there. But yeah, that's 8.0.
Yeah. Well, remember, Chris, I don't have the 12-cent bubble either.
I probably,
I have the 9 pence.
Get issue 3 or 14. Get the most important other issues.
Yes.
And try to get the highest grade you possibly can.
Or 15 if you're a Craven
3
fan.
and 14.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So
this is it,
that was the biggest book I ever bought on eBay.
So I'm screwed, says Mad Spidey.
Yeah.
And this is the one to answer your question, Rob, from earlier. What book would I grab if I had a fire?
I'm ready.
Yeah! Yeah! Yes! Yes! Yes!
Oh my.
8.0.
This is an 8.0. I've owned this comic since 2009, and got this in a trade.
Wait a second. Wait a second. I want to make sure we
Quality
clear it.
Comics.
I want to make sure we say that right. An 8.0? Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh my God! No! No! Shut the front door! No way! Seriously? Shut the front door! Shut the front door!
All right. Sorry. That's just as good as a 9.9 in this case, I say.
This has been, my life goal to get this comic, and got this. I was so happy to get it. It was unaffordable. It's been unaffordable for a long time, but I got this in a big trade, and we sent photos of JPEG photos back and forth and made a deal. And I sent 2 of my most valuable comics to get this, plus a little bit of cash. And really happy to have this in my collection. And it just been a dream of mine. So it really kind of finishes off my Spidey collection.
I hope that Justin Birch is watching right now and suddenly feels inadequate. That's all I'm going to say. Justin Birch is a friend of ours.
I think I got a picture of his.
Who he and I had been going back with on ASM books, where he wanted a book and I would go get it first and all this other stuff. We were having a little bit of an ASM competition. So the other day, his goal was really supposed to be get an ASM 1, and I got mine before he did. So at Heroes Con, we show up, and like Thursday, he has a exhibitor pass, whatever. He's in on the floor, and he comes out with a 1.0 graded, which the cover's split, but it looks phenomenal actually.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for the cover split, it looks like a solid 3 to 4. But so he got that just to put me in my place. So I hope that he now feels inadequate looking at yours, because damn it, I'm a friend of his, and friends make other people feel bad.
So the people have been asking, what did you trade? But I just want to put everything into perspective for everyone here. This is an 8.0. The highest graded copy is a 9.6. It's the most valuable comic book that's ever been sold at auction just before the COVID bubble. Yeah, that's how close we are right now. This is an 8.0 to a 9.6.
1.6 more.
Ken, do you remember what you traded?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I bought, so just a little bit of the backstory. I used to live in Cleveland, Ohio. That was my first job. And I used to go to the Chicago Comic Con, one of the best conventions ever. And this was back in the day when conventions were more comic book related, vintage comic books, and big. Mm-hmm. So at that convention, 1991, I purchased X-Men #1 in the highest grade I could find at the show. And this is, 10 years before CGC.
Yep.
And then I met one guy who was just selling at a little table, an illegal table. He had Amazing Fantasy 15, so I bought his copy as well. So I had Amazing Fantasy 15, X-Men #1 at that same show, 1991 Chicago Comic Con. Year 2000, 1999, when CGC came out, I sent them in to get them certified. The X-Men, thank God, it came back a 9.2 for #1. And then my Amazing Fantasy 15 came back a 4.5 for raw. And both of these were raw. And then I took those 2 comics. I did a lot of photography. Took those 2, plus added about $2,000 in cash. And then I got this. I mean, I think the dealer at the time had probably, he's the dealer. So he probably had an advantage of around, 5-10% at the time. Right. But then over the last 13 years I've owned this comic, this has surpassed the cost. So
right.
Honestly, this comic has come down a lot in the last 2 years from this comic book boom, 2021, 22. But I don't plan to sell it. I'm in it for the long term.
So the legitimate question is, do you sleep with it under your pillow at night?
This is in the bank.
Okay.
So most of these comics I keep in 3 vaults.
Okay.
So, as a matter of fact, I haven't seen these comics for over a year. So, you know, because I keep them in the bank vaults.
Now, we've never had an AF-15 this high, but we also have never had an AF-15 on this show with the original CGC label. So this is
the first generation. Yep.
Yeah, this is a double down for us on this show. Let me ask you this. If you cracked that and got it cleaned and pressed, do you think there would be a grade bump if you actually were to consider doing something like that?
In order to do that, I have to pay, I think CGC's rates are like 2 or 3% of market value.
It's more than that now.
They would be
raised the
charging
rates.
me.
It's now like 5%.
Okay, so I would have to pay 5% of an 8.0, which is, you know, 250 to 300,000. So I'd have to pay $15,000 for them to look at that. So I actually had a meeting with Heritage about that very question. You know, I sat with them at a table, and you know, if I decide to use Heritage in the future, and what we discussed was this would actually need to be personally reviewed by Matt at CGC, you know, the president.
Right.
I mean, for a big comic like this, I don't want to be messing around.
Yeah.
And you know, if they open it and damage it, and we get Marvel chipping or something like that,
Right.
then I'm effed. You know, it's going to go from an 8.0 down to a 6.5 or a 7.0 because of chips. You know, from accidentally, because it's all plastic. You know, it's very sensitive.
Yep.
So I would have to deal personally with the president of the company. I mean, it would be a big deal, and I'm paying them $15,000 for this one comic book. So I want to make sure that they do it correct. But I think, Chris, to answer your question, is if I do sell it, I definitely probably would consider paying the $15,000 to see if they can crack it open, press it, since it is a first generation, and see if we could bump it up to an 8.5. And then, you know, the price significantly goes up from there. It's about a $150,000 increase for a $50,000 investment. So I really think that when the time comes and I want to sell, I'm probably going to go that avenue. I would probably, you know, fly to Florida, make, you know, and with Heritage or Comic or Vincent, you know, from Comic Connect, we'll do it together as a group and be serious about it, because a lot of my comics probably could go through that same process. And, you know, you saw they're all like 9.2s or 9.4s and 9.6s. Maybe there's other comic consideration.
Maybe if they're doing several of them, maybe you can even work with CGC on a deal.
A deal, exactly.
5% is a fucking lot of money when you're talking about these books, and
it doesn't
make
a deal with the auction houses too. You know,
right?
Their current commissions are pretty high, and if I'm going to sell a big collection, you know, honestly, I want to see who's the most hungry for it and who's going to promote it the best, and then we'll kind of go from there. But you know, right now I have no intention, but you know, being a guy, I've done business for 31 years, I understand, you know, what it takes for, you know, negotiation in business. So
that's awesome. Holy, I only got one
away from pedigree. Wow.
I do have one more clip that we have to play after all of that.
Smoke if you got them.
Ken.
Wow.
Incredible, sir. Thank you so much.
So, Ken, can you bring your Godzilla a little bit closer? There's been lots of love. There's been lots of love for that Godzilla.
This is actually a really cool Japanese toy from the 70s.
Yes.
It's called a sparkler. It's a Godzilla sparkler.
Yeah.
These were made by Bullmark. These would be considered very dangerous for children today.
Right.
So what you do is you move the arm. You move this arm,
and it shoots sparks out of its mouth. Right.
Sparks come out.
Yes.
Of its mouth.
That is phenomenal.
And you can see the color. It's in really high grade.
Yes.
But collecting vintage Japanese toys is another one of my hobbies. That's just a hell of a lot of fun. And it's not that expensive of a toy. I mean, this is, you know, you could get them on Hakes auctions or Morphe's auctions. Those are the two auctions in the US. Or you could go to, you know, eBay doesn't have these very
right.
So. But they're like, you know, $500, $700.
Love it.
Amazing. Ken, thank you so much. Words cannot convey what you have there. You know what you have. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and taking the time to go pull those out and giving yourself a chance to be familiar with them once again, but to share them all with us. I can't thank you enough. I think it's time to do another giveaway. Ladies and gentlemen, #mind blown. Because, you know, that only makes sense. Now, granted, I'm not going to be giving away any of Ken's books. Sorry, guys. It's just books from the bin. But we all got to start somewhere. Chris, well, we're giving everybody a chance to get that hashtag mind blown in there. What do you got coming up for yourself on your channel?
I don't know, man. I'm mind blown over here. Who cares, man? Like we just saw an 8-0, man. In all seriousness, I just finished 30 days of DC days where I opened a single Walmart pack of DC comics every day this past month. And yesterday's episode was the final episode. It was a pretty cool one where I opened the final pack, and then we did a little retrospective and looked back at the month and did some statistical and math work. If you're interested, check that out. I'm going to be having an AOK from Dr. Von Hoot very shortly, as well as two cool guys topics tomorrow and this Wednesday. For Show Us What You Got, it will be the channel member giveaway via a duck race, baby.
Oh, no lame wheel spin is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with wheel spins. I just like the duck race myself.
Fair enough. All right, we got 39 out of 49 viewers who've entered so far. Remember, we do ship internationally, so feel free to hit that hashtag mind blown. Again, tomorrow I have a special live going on with the Rogue Trader. We do that the journey on that Timely Comics, hoping to goodness that we kept the blue label and that we got a grade bump, but we'll find out. Be sure to tune in with me on 11 o'clock tomorrow. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern for that. And again, next week we'll be back again with another episode of OnlySlabs with Mr. Comics 89. Let's go ahead and hit this and get on out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, our next winner is
Wheel of Fish.
Legion of Comics.
Oh, man.
No pressure. You know he likes
man.
DC.
Oh, man.
You've done horribly for him in the past.
Watch your back. Oh, man.
All right.
Oh, Frank. Okay, I know Mark's favorite number is 17, so let's go number 1 from the front and number 7 from the back.
All right.
Okay, Mark has 3 children, so let's go 3 from the front.
Wow.
I know a lot about him. Let's let it ride. Let's let it ride, Rob. And stop. And those 2.
Okay, and then we have one more book.
All right, let's let her ride. And stop. And the book that's closest to the wall of comics.
All right.
Watch your back. Okay.
We have The Invincible Iron Man, issue number 1.
Well, I know he likes nice covers, and I know he likes Iron Man, so I'm hoping that he enjoys that one.
Like a Philip Tan cover.
Oh.
How about The Scorched, issue number 1?
Very nice, very nice.
You got yourself
I know he likes
Silvestri
Spawn as well.
and McFarlane.
Very nice.
How about some old checkerboard? Hawkman.
Okay. Now, yes, I'm sure right now he just did a yes or a little yes.
12-cent checkerboard goodness. Now he curses under his breath at you with Star Wars, The High Republic, issue number 6.
Okay. I like it.
He's going to be happy. Even though it's not a DC book, I'm sure he'll be happy. Big Trouble in Little China, issue number 1, baby. Yes.
Jack to save the day there. Very nice.
Yes, and his last book is actually a trade paperback. Man, the trade paperbacks coming out there. More Spider-Gwen featuring the tale of Gwenom.
Okay. Maybe his daughter will enjoy it.
So there you go. Yeah, he's got you a fuck yes with Jack Burton. So there you go. So yeah, all right. Congratulations to Mark, Legion of Comics. Everybody, appreciate you all coming out. I'm late I gotta head on out to another show. Ken, oh wait, hold on. Maybe go back. Ken, thank you again
Thanks,
so
you guys.
much, sir. I greatly appreciate it. If you ever feel like coming on again, invitation is always open for you,
Thanks.
sir.
Great
Congratulations
meeting you
on
all.
that. Putting all that together. That is an impressive collection.
Thanks for the effort. Thanks for the
Yeah,
effort.
it's a good
Ken, to
thing
go
we have a
get it
week
all
before
done.
the next show because I need at least that long on my refractory period now. Guys, until next time, collect what you want. Don't listen to anybody, including myself. Because I'm just a fat man with a fat stack of comics and a fat opinion. Thanks for watching.